What's up, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to talk some Black Clover, the anime that just was released yesterday. I actually would have made this video yesterday, but I didn't know what time of the day it came out, and then I ended up watching it later on in the evening, and I got doing some other stuff, so this is going to be obviously the video that goes up today. But going forward, these videos will be going up on Tuesdays. Usually Tuesdays you can expect this and the My Hero Academia content update, and man, if there's a new banner added to Dokkan Battle, you're going to be getting triple uploads on Tuesdays. Ooh, that is going to be good for everybody. Alright, so for the next 13 weeks, we are going to be talking about Black Clover. I'm not going to really be breaking it down the same way that I was with My Hero Academia, talking about things I like, things I didn't like. We'll hit a couple big points, and probably be out of here. It's going to be a lot more loose. Mostly because I don't have ties to this series yet. I never read the manga. It was just a series that I kind of caught wind of, maybe not like a month ago. I probably caught wind of it before most people who were interested in checking this series out, solely based on trailers. Like, I knew this series was big in Japan for probably about 3 or 4 months. I had just gotten back into like the big, like, oh, what should I be looking for going forward, because fall is coming soon, my series are going to be ending that I was watching during the summer. And so that's how I stumbled upon this. It said this was going to premiere October 3rd. I was like, perfect, that's the week after My Hero Academia is going to end, and so that's how we got to this point. So a lot of the points I'm probably going to be making are going to be points that you're going to be like, well, yeah, of course, but it's just going to be my honest thoughts on the episode, and so let's get into it. So the first thing, I am actually going to defend Asta's voice a little bit, because I saw a lot of people were just like super negatively against it, and I'm not going to defend the yelling, because the yelling is a real ear grinder, and the biggest problem that I have with it is that he enunciates the last syllable for an extra stretch, where it's like super screamed for no reason. So it's like, I'm gonna be the greatest, and then that's the part that he screams really loud. Like, that's the part that he screams really loud for a long stretch, and is like, why do they need to stretch this out so far? I actually really like his normal speaking voice. I think it's a very good voice, but I think that his voice could be a lot better, and I hope that this is just an example of, it's early on, they're going to try to kind of adapt to it, but I don't know if the signs are the greatest on that front. Hopefully we can just get used to the voice as time goes on, and it's not going to be a really big deal. Outside of that, I really like the voice acting a lot. I thought Yuno was really well done. The only character I really had a problem with was the main villain of the episode. I believe his name was Revchi. His voice just rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. I don't really know what the big deal was with it, because it's like, when you actually, like, I rewatched a little bit of it, and it's like, his voice is kind of like the stereotypical, like, creep, like, character of, like, the guy who just makes you uncomfortable, crawling your skin kind of thing, but it's like, for whatever reason, that voice bothered me a lot. So the voice acting, really good, does need a little bit of improvement, I think, especially Asta's voice. The animation I thought was a little spotty. I liked it for the most part. Like, in certain scenes it was really good. When they get their grimoires, it's really good. At the scene, not in the end, but when Asta and Yuno are fighting against Revchi, it's a really good, animation is like really good, really tight. But I think there's times in, like, especially the opening scene on like the church property, it like kind of felt a little bit lacking, and I don't know if that's just because it's like really early on, or it's just I was expecting a little bit too much out of it for a studio that doesn't have like a super long track record of amazing animation. I've just been too spoiled with Bones and not Funhouse. I don't know why I said Funhouse, Madhouse lately, because a lot of the series I've been watching come from like studios like that are just like upper tier, high echelon, like animation that's like really great. And this comes from a good studio, but like maybe not necessarily the greatest, and like maybe my expectations are a little bit heightened by that, but I think the animation could be tightened up a little bit. And overall, I had a really big problem with this episode, though, and this is not an original point, and people have been saying this for months, but this whole episode felt like a huge Naruto ripoff, and I've never really watched Naruto like extensively. I've seen probably the first 30, 40, 50 even episodes, up to like the first part of the Chunin exams. That was when I kind of checked out. I was like, I didn't really vibe with that series the greatest. I'm going to give it another shot at some point, but just when I watched it originally. This episode, I felt like, was very similar to the first episode of Naruto in a kind of bad way, and it's basically almost exactly the same episode, because it starts out, there's this kid, nobody likes him, he wants to become like the ruler. In Naruto's case, he wants to become Hokage. In this case, Asta wants to become the king of the wizards. There's a scene where they have a specific trial that they fail. In Asta's case, it's getting a grimoire. In Naruto's case, it's successfully performing Shadow Clone Jutsu. Then there's a big climactic scene where there's a fight, and then at the end, or maybe not even at the end, but at some point later in the episode, the character like redeems themselves from the trial. Asta gets a grimoire. Naruto makes like a million clones of himself. So like, it's like almost exactly the same formula of an episode as the first episode of Naruto was, and I really didn't like that. It didn't really bother me so much when I was watching the episode. It was more so afterwards that it really, like, once I started to think about the structure of the episode, it's like, wow, this episode is pretty much the pilot for Naruto, and I don't like that. It makes me feel uncomfortable going forward. I hope that they can have a better start than Naruto did, because that was kind of what turned me off to the series. But I know that at the same time, this is a series that a lot of people have compared to that, and thematically, maybe not thematically, but stylistically, it definitely is. There's a main character, he wants to be the best that there is, and he doesn't really have any powers, so it seems like it's in a little bit of a formula, but hopefully the series can improve as it goes on. I didn't expect a whole lot out of this first episode, so I wasn't necessarily disappointed. However, it wasn't like a great episode, I don't think. I don't know if solely based on this first episode I would recommend it to anybody. I think that a little bit of it is that I probably built up a little bit too much hype in my head for this series, because I wanted this to be like the next big series. I wanted this to be like one of my favorites, and it definitely, I wouldn't say didn't deliver on expectations for episode 1, but episode 1 doesn't give the most promise going forward. It definitely seems like it might just be a typical shonen series and not really very unique or interesting, and that's just not a series. Those series don't really interest me as much, because I've seen enough of them at this point to know that I like the ones that are a little bit more atypical, like My Hero Academia, Hunter x Hunter, and maybe this will be a series that I end up dropping after one season. But I'm definitely committed to watch this for the rest of the year. I want to see where these first 13 episodes go. And this episode, I'd probably give it a 6. It wasn't anything super special. It set up the main character. It kind of gave you an idea of what the story is going to be. It set up the rivalry pretty well. But, like I said, a little bit too similar to Naruto for me. And it feels like this might just end up being like a typical shonen series. But, can't judge a whole lot on the first episode. This is just my thoughts on it. So, that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down below. Is it a series that you're really looking forward to? Did this episode turn you on? Did this episode kind of turn you away? Do you think that this series is going to improve over time? What is there about the manga that shows you that there is potential if you've read the manga? I have not. I will definitely consider reading it, though, if the season of the show is any good. So, this is going to do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more.